Hello, this is Laurie from Fill in the Blank channel. Name to be determined. I'm interviewing Mark.
Hello.
Okay, so my first guest, Mark. When was the turning point in your life when you became a Republican?
I became a Republican when I watched the country fall apart under Jimmy Carter. And I realized how vapid and basically worthless left-wing policies were.
So did you vote for Jimmy Carter?
I did not vote for Jimmy Carter. I voted for Gerald Ford, the Republican. I wasn't firm in my beliefs then. However, Jimmy Carter did win the election, and he basically ruined the country and ran it into the ground.
Okay, so when you were, I'm assuming when you were in college, you were a Democrat.
I voted for the first time in the election of 1972. It turns out that I turned 18 that year. That was the first year 18-year-olds could vote. And yes, the first time I voted for George McGovern. I voted Democrat. The pervasiveness on the college campus was just that Republicans were no good and that you just always voted for Democrats. So that's what I did. And that was the first and last time.
Okay, so what did you think you were backing, or did you not think then, as far as Democrat policies?
I thought that I was backing people who were honest and good and truthful, and that Republicans were greedy, mean liars who would take our civil rights away. That's what I was taught on my college campus.
What about?
So I voted Democrat.
Did you watch TV yourself? The news?
No, not when I was in college.
Uh-huh.
Only occasionally.
Yeah, so what do you mean that was what you were taught?
That's what everyone around me, both fellow students and teachers, said and insinuated.
So, what do you think was one of the better things that Reagan did?
I think one of the better things that Reagan did was communicate effectively the fact that a large federal government is an impediment to our capitalist system. I love the Reagan snippet or soundbite where he says, "Many people will tell us that government is the solution to our problems, but my fellow Americans, I am telling you, government is the problem." That's primarily what I like about the great communicator, his communications. He's for small government, for low taxes, and a strong defense. So I liked his policies, especially, even though he could not shrink the size of government because he dealt with a Democrat Congress most of the time. But he certainly tried very, very, very hard.
Okay. And you didn't support George Bush Sr., did you?
That's true. I did not support George Bush Sr. because he lied to us. And that really angered me. So I voted for Ross Perot instead as a protest vote. Just to teach Republicans a lesson. And I did. I did. No Republican has ever basically raised taxes again. I mean, what happened? That's why Papa Bush went down the second time. A lot of people I knew, we just decided, you know, we were gonna let it be known once and for all. You don't pull that crap. Say, read my lips, no new taxes, and then go and raise them. And I think we made our point.
So what did you think about ending the first Gulf War when it ended?
I was not for that. I did not see why we simply did not finish the war, go into Baghdad, remove Saddam Hussein, and have him swinging from a rope a lot sooner. Because basically that could have happened. Essentially, you know, I mean, in retrospect, I would say we know that Colin Powell is basically a liberal Democrat, but he was really, he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at that time, and he's the one who stopped the war. He basically decided that, in quotes, I think, and I'm paraphrasing him, not quoting, our Arab neighbors might be offended if we conquer too much in the Middle East. So he told Schwarzkopf to stop. And we stopped, and you know what? The war really never stopped. For then some 16, 17 years, we ended up trying to contain Saddam in his WMD programs. And so we had to go back again and finish it. Would have been so much cheaper to have done it the first time.
So bringing everything up to present time, what do you think about Obama's personality in the way he's reacting to Rush Limbaugh, for instance?
Well, I think we're seeing the same Obama. I'm seeing the same Obama that I saw during the entire campaign. A rather cocky, arrogant, egocentric, slick campaigner and communicator with a thin skin. What's happening now is that I think he's absolutely shocked that when he offers the American people $1 trillion worth of goodies on his porculus bill or spendulous bill, whatever I choose to call it or we choose to call it here on the right, he's shocked that we're not saying, oh, goody, 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 you know, like a bunch of like lifetime card carrying members of Acorn. Well, 47% of the people voted against him. The 53% who voted for him had a lot of soft votes going for him too. So essentially now he's the president, and I think he's irritated that his first 2.5 weeks haven't exactly gone the way he wanted. I mean, there's no Greek columns and pillars being pushed out behind him now. That speech he gave last night was highly partisan. I mean, you know, given to a bunch of Democrat congressmen, basically saying, hey, what am I supposed to do? I inherited this pile of problems wrapped up in a nice, neat bow. I'm doing the best I can. He's an unhappy camper, and I think we're seeing the thinness of his skin and the lack of experience in his policies. Okay. So that's my comment on Barkey.
Anything else you want to add for this first panel discussion?
No, I don't think I have anything that I really want to add now. My actual comment on what's going on now with the economy is that, folks, the American economy goes through business cycles. It will recover. Whether there's a stimulus bill or not, it'll probably recover in about the same time. Really, I think what we're going to see is the government now focusing on the core problem, which is fixing the banks so that we can actually get the housing market moving again and getting interest rates down on mortgages. I think once we get the housing problem stabilized by getting the banks to lend at low mortgage rates, things will basically be getting better. I would shelve the stimulus package altogether and put it aside and really focus on the banking issues. So I guess that's about all I have to add.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for joining us in our first panel discussion.
Okay. Aren't you calling this smart girl?
That's already
politics?
That's already taken, but that would be a cool one. Yeah.
Okay, so bye-bye. She's going to find a URL for this.